Happy Sunday, everybody. What's going on here? RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting. People helping people, communities method, one day at a time. That's our motto. And today, we're going to discuss a little bit, does prison define who you're going to become? Prison, the pretrial experience that many of you are going through right now, will this be defined, or will this define who you are going to become? If you would have asked me that question a month ago, 2 months ago, I'd tell you absolutely not. I'd tell you prison doesn't have to define who you're going to be. You can still do anything you want to do. Prison doesn't have to create a life that is undesirable. However, the more I've thought about that question, the more I've realized that, yeah, prison will define who you're going to become. Morning, Bonnie. Or afternoon, I don't know what time it is wherever you guys are at. It's noon here in Florida, Palm Beach, Florida, loving it. So prison for me has completely redefined my entire life. Jared Mendez, $2 donation. You get an air high five, appreciate that. Being defined by your prison experience doesn't have to necessarily be a negative connotation. For me, the life that's been created due to my prison experience never would have happened if I had not made some poor choices early on, wrapped myself up in a federal indictment, and ended up doing a 42-month federal prison sentence. Well, didn't serve the whole 42 months, but nonetheless, that's what I was sentenced to. So right now, many of you are going through this situation. You're thinking all of the negative aspects that could come from going to prison. You're thinking to yourself, my life will never be the same, and you're equalizing that to not only will it not be the same, but it's never going to be as good as it is right now. And that is a state of mind. That is a self-defeated statement that you're telling yourself. Life does not have to be what it is now in the future, but can your life be better, the same, or worse? Absolutely. You're going to have so many choices that are going to be presented to you. I hope you guys can see me okay. It seems a little dark. Maybe it's the light. You guys are going to be presented with so many choices, opportunities, obstacles, negativity, positivity. It's going to come, and you have to be able to identify the opportunities when they present themselves. And what I mean by that is there's going to be many people that are going to judge you. I'm still judged on a daily basis when I go places, especially if I go somewhere that is of a higher influential caliber of people that I'm spending my time around. Question always comes up, what do you do? Well, what do you do for a living? Everybody's competing. Everybody's swinging their you-know-what, trying to see who has the most competitive income or whatever the situation is. And when it comes to me, I don't hide what I do. I don't hide where I've been. And people will ask me, what do you do, Dan? I'm a consultant. What do you consult? I'm a private consultant for individuals facing federal prison, from the individuals making minimum wage all the way to the wealthy that are getting ready to go into the prison system. So, and I'll get the question, well, what exactly does that entail? What do you do? What type of degree did you have to achieve in order to be able to do this? And when I tell people, well, really, there's no actual formal degree. Pamela, how are you doing? There's no actual formal degree. However, going to federal prison sure did give me the credentials that many of you feel fit and necessary to help guide you through such a stressful time. School of Hard Knocks. Yes. And I used to say that. I went to Federal Prison University or whatever joke. But it's been such a common question. It's one of the first things people ask you. What do you do? For those of you that are going to be getting out of prison, or you're getting ready to go to prison, or you're going to be on probation and you're single, when you get into that dating scene, it's one of the first questions. Anybody that's going to be interested in dating you is probably going to vet you to an extent of wanting to know what you did or what you do or where you've been. And at some point, the situation of going to prison will likely present itself. And that is a huge fear that many of you guys are probably over dramatizing, giving it way more credit than it deserves. if you explain it properly and you don't dodge it, and you don't hide from it, you don't make it this taboo subject. You know, when somebody says, what do you do or where have you been, and you try to tell somebody you've gone to prison, if you say it all shy and your tail tucked between your legs, it gives them the doubt. It's just like a little kid. If a little kid, you know, falls down and hurts himself, and you run up to him, you're like, oh my God, are you okay? And you're babying him, the kid will tend to maybe cry a little harder, or they see that sympathy that they're getting. But if you just kind of let it roll off your shoulders and say, hey, I went to prison, I went for a white collar crime or a nonviolent crime, whatever your situation is, I made a mistake in life and I paid my price. Now I'm out. I'm just trying to make it like the rest of you and take me for what it is. When people usually get to know you, they can look past almost anything if somebody's interested enough. So do not let the prison experience define you in a way that is going to create doubt in your mind. Allow it to define you and just realize that you're going to enter a new world. Life will never be the same as you know it right now, but that again does not necessarily mean it's going to be negative. Thank you, Pamela. And I'm learning this every single day because I meet people that are going into prison, getting out of prison. I'm actually driving right now down to Delray Beach, Florida. On Sunday, I'm going to meet with a federal defense attorney who is very interested in the work that we do and how we might be able to work with him and his firm out of Boca Raton, Florida. And part of that is explaining that what we do is not just tell somebody, here's how you prepare for prison. Here's how you don't get beat up. You know, that's what a lot of individuals think a prison consultant does, especially when you look at it just from the surface level. There's so many more levels of what we actually do, from the life coaching, the consulting, the motions that are created, and really helping someone take back control of their life while they're going through what just might be the most difficult time many of you will ever experience. Not necessarily prison, but the pre-trial process, waiting for what's next, getting sentenced, waiting for your PSR, waiting for a plea agreement, not knowing what that looks like. Are you going to get a favorable plea? How much time is the judge actually going to give you? And many of you will ask the question, does anything I do actually matter? Is it going to make any difference at all on any of the things that you post on this video? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but I can tell you more than not, if you put in the work and you put in the effort, it will have a huge impact on what the possible outcome could be. We had a client that was sentenced a couple of days ago, and he had just a hardcore judge that no matter what he did, the judge wasn't pulling back. The judge, you might as well not even have submitted any letters. And he was also remanded into custody. He called me from county jail. Sorry guys, my phone somehow overheated. Never happened before. I think I've got it plugged into a charger that is too much power for it. So I apologize. I had to pull over there for a second, fix it. So yeah, I was telling you guys that I had a client that was sentenced last week, and the judge laid it to him. I mean, just hammered him. Really, did the letters make a difference? It didn't appear so. Sentenced him to the high end of the guideline. Remanded him at sentencing. All of the things that we typically do not see, we saw happen. And I wasn't able to hear from him until he actually called me from county jail. And I felt so bad. I felt like we failed him. I felt maybe we should give this guy his money back. And as I was about to apologize, I think I got the words out, I'm so sorry, it wasn't a better outcome for you. He immediately said, no, Dan, this isn't your fault. He told me, I put myself in this situation, and even though I didn't get the outcome that we were hoping for, I was still completely prepared for everything that came. I've never slept as good as I've slept since I've hired you. You and your team did everything that you said you were going to do. You gave me realistic expectation. You allowed me to know that there is no guarantee outcome, that we can only put our best foot forward, and where the cards fall, the cards are going to fall. And he actually reminded me of something that I told him. I said, you know, at the end of the day, good, bad, or ugly, whatever's going to happen from this, he said, you told me that there's going to come a point where I'm going to lay my head down in my bunk and I'm going to wonder, is there anything that I could have done differently? Or is there anything I could have done more of? And I can honestly say right now, and this is what he told me, that he feels he's done everything within his power to create the best possible outcome. and he's content with the situation he's in because he knows that he fought. He knows that he put his best foot forward. He knows that he didn't just sit around and wait for his attorney to call him. And that was a reassuring statement to hear, because so often that's a fear. That's a fear of mine, is we never want somebody to feel like they didn't get what they paid for. And at the same time, I know not everybody is going to be ecstatic about getting a sentence with the high end of the guidelines and getting remanded at sentencing. However, hey, he's taking cues from you. I'm not sure if I read that correctly, but yeah. So it was refreshing, because you know what, that is a possibility, right? We know that you can do everything right, and you might have a judge that's having a bad day. You just don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen, and I feel so blessed to be able to work with people that understand what it is that we're going to attempt to do for them, and understand that there's no magic wand, there's no magic pill that they're going to take. We're not just going to come in here and do a bunch of consulting work and fix the entire situation for you. We are going to put in the effort, but you yourself, you're going to have to be willing to work harder than anybody on your own case. You're going to have to be willing to work harder than your attorney. You're going to have to be willing to work harder than us. And you're going to have to realize that the map that we lay out for you, it only works if you follow the steps. And just as it was just proven last week with a client that, like I said, was just sentenced, it's not always going to be the outcome that you want, but it is going to be an outcome that you're going to be prepared for. And on the same side, when we get clients that receive probation, and when we get clients that receive reduced sentences, and we have all these clients that tell us the judge referenced their letters, they said that this is the best circumstance of an individual sitting in front of them that they've ever seen, we know the work that we're doing. What's up, Anthony? Tear Talk is in the house. Anthony, we really got to get together and do a video when you have some time. I know you're a busy man. We could do like driving in cars. I know you're always driving. I actually stole this idea, driving in my car, from Anthony Ganji. It looks so authentic and just not prepared. Meanwhile, I sat at my house for like 3 hours positioning the camera, putting my notes right. I'm just kidding. I literally got in the car and decided, let's talk to everybody today. Next week, we're going to be back on track, making videos from the studio, all of that stuff. How is the East Coast? It's okay. There's no stealing. Yes, sir. I like to say stealing. It brings out my inner criminal in me, Anthony. East Coast is amazing. I've missed it so much. Everybody's been asking me, how is Florida? How is Florida? Yesterday, it was pouring outside, and it still felt fantastic. There was a thunderstorm and a lightning storm, and oh my God, have I missed all of that. But more importantly, this moving to Washington, it really took a lot out of us. You know, it's a long drive, packing, unpacking, just the mental anguish that goes with all of that. And it feels like it set me back like 2 or 3 weeks with all of you and where I need to be. Thank God for CJ, who's still in the office in Spokane, and Jenny, who's based out of Ohio. Thank God they've been holding the fort down, making sure you guys are getting what you need, because it's really, I feel like I've lost weeks and weeks and weeks of work just getting it's been 2 weeks basically since I've left. 2 weeks ago Saturday is when I hit the road. I've been here a week last Thursday. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for being so patient and being such awesome individuals, and really allowing me to share my story, share what we've learned with so many of you through this venue that YouTube is created. I think I told many of you we've got a podcast that will be starting here in the next couple of weeks. We just secured some podcast studio. We're getting our new equipment in, and just looking forward to this journey called life, and sharing it with all of you. So don't allow prison to define you in a negative connotation. Realize that it will redefine you. Life will never be the same, but don't automatically assume it's going to be negative. Get up every day, put a smile on your face, and just ask yourself, what can I do today that I didn't do yesterday to make my day just a little bit better? What can I do to show the people that are supporting me that I'm appreciative to what they've been doing? Make sure you go around and give gratitude. Showing gratitude will reflect. When you smile at somebody, they'll smile back. And just those little seemingly unimportant choices that you can make that can change somebody else's entire day will give you the energy and the strength to do what you need to do, because life is going to be hard for many of you for the next several weeks, several months, several years. There's going to be a lot of discomfort, but you have to know that the discomfort, if you allow it to really root itself and you own the discomfort and you headbutt it and you face it straight on, you will be able to control it to where it doesn't define you. You allow it to enter your mind and you kick it right out and you turn it into a positive. That's the whole idea here. Take these negatives, squeeze the life out of them, turn them into positives, and throw those back out in the universe for somebody else to pick up. If you're walking down the street and you see a penny on tails, flip that bitch over so somebody else can get the good luck and pick it up. Keep it going. I'm RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting. People helping people, communities method, one day at a time.